Are y'all good? Are you happy? In the balcony, you happy? You know if Jesus comes back, you get there first. I'm a little jealous about you people up there, but that's good. Now here's the rule. Look at Reggie. Everybody look at me close. I'm from the United States of America. That's one. Number two, I'm black. If you've never been with a black preacher from America, this is the greatest day of your life. Now look, there's rules. See, all Australians, I know what y'all thinking. Some of you sitting there going, I know how this is going to go. All Americans are arrogant and rude. We are not rude. Now there's rules. You got it. That's good. You're a smart church. I said that last week. Everybody went. There's rules. So let me give you the rules. Rule number one, when a black American preacher comes, you must talk to your neighbor. So right now, look at somebody beside you and say, I got to talk to you. Matter of fact, let me help you out. Let me teach everybody how to talk like an American. Look at somebody right beside you, stare them in the eye, and say this 3 times. Say, all right, all right, all right. Turn to the person on the other side of you. Say it again. Say, all right, all right, all right. Oh, that's good. This is going to be good. Number 2, not only do you have to talk to your neighbor. Oh, by the way, I saw one man who just looked at his wife for the first time. All right. He's like, oh, yeah, baby, I love you. Good morning. All right. Number 2, you got to talk to the preacher. Everybody say, come on, Reggie. Come on, Reggie. Dude, you know, y'all don't sound like an early service crowd. You're making me happy today. This could be good. And number 3, you're going to have a good time. I don't care what you did or where you've been, you're going to have a good time. I love what you're doing, the stories of Jesus. And I just decided to fit right into the flow of things. So if you got a Bible, you're going to want to turn to John chapter 8. The story of Jesus we're going to use is in that chapter. While you're turning there, it's wrong to have a man get up that you don't even know and just start preaching. So let me give you a little background on how I grew up. Now, I'm going to give you some personal stuff today because it's Sunday. I grew up every Sunday. We went to church. And everybody went to church. Dad said, if you live in my house, you're going to church. If you ain't going to church, get your junk and get out. Now, I know, see, look, because y'all Australians, y'all didn't grow up like that. You're like, you got to give your kids a little space. No. They ain't no space. I love it when people come up to me and they go, oh, I wish my child could have heard you speak. You're so funny. I wish my child could have been here. And I think their child passed away. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. When did they pass? He goes, no, they're at home playing video games. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You got to have rules. I like rules. Rules are good. If I had to have them, my kid's gonna have them too. If my life was messed up, I'm messing his up too. So when I was a kid, here's the rule. Saturday, you can do what you want, but Saturday morning at 7 a.m., everybody at the table eating breakfast. Sunday, everybody going to church. And the rule was like this: if you ain't ready when mama ready, you're going like you look. Somebody touch your neighbor and say, you're going like you look. Okay, now look, I was the youngest in the family, so I learned everything from my brother who was 6 years older than me, and he was the devil. I mean, he got in trouble all the time. And one Sunday, he was 12, I was 6, and my brother woke up on Sunday morning. My dad's like, come on, boys, let's go. Time to go to church. So I jump up, I'm getting ready, and my brother rolls over, looks at me and goes, I ain't going. I'm 12. I'm a man. I got 2 hair on my chest. And he rolled over and went back to sleep. Now, there's something you got to understand. You got to get a mental picture of this. Are y'all ready? Okay, look. My brother was 12, but he still loved one thing. He had these pajamas. They were Batman pajamas. And let me describe it. It was a onesie. You know what I mean by a onesie? Anybody ever seen a 12-year-old brother in a onesie? It ain't right, y'all. Booties on the bottom, a cape on the back, a bat on the chest, little hoodie with ears on top. Imagine that looking at you going, I'm a man. I do what I want. So he rolls over, go back to sleep. I started singing a song, Oh, Happy Day, because I knew what was coming. I get dressed. My dad comes around the corner. My dad's like, come on, boys, let's go. Now, my daddy, big, bald-headed, got a vein right here, pop up and down when he get mad. He looked like a Klingon from Star Trek for you old people, all right? My dad comes around the corner. He's like, come on, boys, let's go. He looks over, sees my brother in bed, looks at me. The vein starts popping. And I said, he said, come on, Dad, let me get this right. He said, I'm 12. I'm a man. And ain't no bald-headed black man going to tell him what to do. That's what he said. I had to do it. My dad looked at me and went, get in the car. I went, okay. And I had to watch. My dad scoop my brother up as only a father could do that to his child. And as he held him and cradled him in his arms and we walked out the door, he laid him in the back seat, looked at me and went, and we started driving to church. And my brother looked like Batman. I think it was the second light that we stopped at. My brother kind of woke up, rubbed his eyes, looked down, saw the bat flying on his chest. And he was like, no, and starts weeping and crying. We get to the church parking lot, and I'm like, let's go to church. All I can see is the visiting. You remember when they say, is there visitors here? I could just see Pastor going, is there any visitors? Batman, how you doing? Good to be here. All right. You don't have to fill out a card. We don't want to know where the cave is. My brother's crying, weeping, snot bubbles flying everywhere. He's like, Daddy, please, Daddy, please. My mom's looking out the window. I thought she was crying. Later on, I found out she was crying because she was laughing so hard. My dad looked back and said, you be ready next time? He goes, Dad, I'll be ready. I'll be ready. My dad reached under the seat and pulled out clothes. So that's what kind of preacher you got for you today. I like it. You know, it's great. No one's moved. And I love the lady on the front row. Girl, you go with your bad self. I like it. And I love it when you woke me up, by the way. I can hear you praising up from over here. And for those of you who don't like people who praise loud, let me just put you in your spot. I'm a visitor, so I might not ever come back. I'm going back to America tomorrow. You know why she made me happy? You don't know what she had to go through to get to that chair this morning. You don't know what she had to do to get her voice loud. Some of you need to try it before you knock it. Maybe if you praise a little louder, God will come through for you too. Oh, by the way, Pastor told me to act like I was at home, so I said, all right, I will. Your music's a little dull for my taste, but I'm all right. Oh, by the way, my friends wrote half the songs that y'all sang, and I told them that too. I said, y'all need a Hammond B3 organ. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Y'all need a sister going, y'all don't know what I'm doing. Come to America. Come to my church. It's crazy. We got about 800 ladies like her yelling at one time. It will make Jesus jump on you even if you don't want him to jump on you. I'm just saying, y'all think y'all know church. Y'all don't know church. Y'all just go to church. Where I go is church. See the difference? Church, church. Church, church. So I'm going to bring a little church today. John chapter 8. Now, before I start reading, let me explain. When I was growing up, another rule we had in church, I didn't sit with my friends. Trouble happens when you sit with your friends. So I had to sit with my mom and dad. Mama was on one side, daddy on the other side. The rule was when the preacher started, if you got a question, raise your finger. If I got time, my dad would answer me. If he didn't, he'll say later. And I had to remember my question to ask him later. That's the way we did it. And I'll never forget this story ever as long as I live. So let me set it up. The Bible says in John chapter 8 that Jesus went to the temple to preach. As he got up and started to preach, the craziest thing happened. The doors opened on all sides. People were screaming and yelling. They're dragging something in. They throw it on the stage. Everybody's got stones and rocks, and they start talking to Jesus about this person. Y'all with me? Verse 3. Teacher, this woman was caught red-handed in the act of adultery. Stop right there. So here's the deal. My finger goes up because it said the word adultery. I ain't never heard adultery before. So I put my finger up. My dad leans over. Can I say something right now? You should see the look on some of y'all's faces. Everybody's like going, uh-oh. Uh-oh, there's kids. I know they're sitting right there. Those are my peoples. Those are my people. They're the ones making me happy today because old people scare me, all right? That's my age. This isn't. And I got to be honest with you. I forgot where I was last night. I preached my sermon, gave the altar call, but I forgot to have everybody stand before I had people come forward. And with young people, I don't have to do that. But with you old people, I guess I do. So I decided today to make it a little easier for y'all to give your life to Jesus. So I'm going to have everybody stand before you walk forward. And for those of you who are going, there ain't no way I'm going to do that, you will be the first one down here. Because you ain't just messing with me. You're messing with my daddy. And my daddy came to set the captive free. My daddy came to save the lost. So here's the deal. Everybody look at Reggie. I think I need to do this. If you are a sinner and you love sin, you really love what you're doing, you need to get your stuff. You need to go and get as far away from my voice as you can right now. Because the longer you hear me preach, the more in jeopardy you are putting your sinning life as being extinct. You know what's really good? You can't even go to the bathroom now, can you? Because if you get up, everybody's like, I knew that boy was nasty. Somebody touch your neighbor and say, all right, all right, all right. This woman was caught red-handed in the act of adultery. My finger went up. My dad goes, what? I said, what's adultery? He went, what? I said, what's adultery? And my dad said this, in order to participate in adultery, you must have no clothes on. And I'm like, and my dad goes, what? I said, she naked? In front of everybody? And my dad went, yep. And for a 13-year-old, this has become his favorite Bible story in the history of the world. Let's go on. I love this. Some of you are like, where's this going to end? It's going to end with you getting saved. That's where it's going to end. Let's keep reading. Moses' law tells us that we should stone such a person. What do you say? They were trying to trap Jesus into saying something incriminating so that they could bring charges against him. Here it is, verse 6. Jesus bent down and wrote with his finger in the dirt. Now, I love this. This is NIV. In the King James, it says, Jesus stooped. S-T-O-O-P-E-D. Stooped. I love that word. Stooped. Everybody touch your neighbor and say, Jesus stooped. Touch your other neighbor and say, Jesus stooped. I'm going to use that from here on out. Jesus stooped and wrote with his finger in the dirt. They kept on badgering him. He straightened up and said, the sinless one among you go first. Throw the stone. Stooping down again, he wrote with his finger in the dirt. Hearing that, they walked away, one after another, beginning with the oldest. The woman was left alone. Everybody say, she all alone. Well, she wasn't alone. Jesus stayed. The woman was left alone with Jesus. Jesus stood up and spoke to her and said, woman, where are they? Does anyone condemn you? No one, master. Neither do I, said Jesus. Go on your way, and from now on, don't sin. Can I paint the picture for you? Let's go before church even started. Early in the morning, all this woman wanted was a place to sleep. All she wanted was a place to lay her head. Many of you are revolted that I would even speak with this sermon today. Don't get mad at me. I didn't write the book. And the stories of Jesus, this happens to be one of them. So if you want to get mad, don't get mad at me. Take it with the brother upstairs. Here's the deal. We can learn something in this little story. First of all, one, people will do anything just to be normal. People will try anything just to be, I just want to be loved. I just want to be loved. See, some of y'all have no idea, do you? And I am kind of, I'm jealous of y'all. Because see, from 8 years old to 21 years old, I wanted to die every day. Even when I was surrounded by people, I wanted to die. So the preacher that preaches like this has obviously gone through something. You know what I'm saying? So hear me out when I say this. If you have no idea what I'm talking about and trying to figure out why is he doing this, obviously this ain't for you. But what if you're here to help someone else? A woman just wanted to be loved. I just want to be loved, just want to be loved. She found someone who would let her sleep in a room, in a house, in a home, and all it was wrong. It was so wrong. But yet and still, as the son woke up, she had no idea what was about to happen. But all of a sudden, she's drugged from that room, from that house, from that bed, and had nothing. And she's drugged through the streets, and there's a parade. But guess what? She's the band. The circus is in town, but she's the main act. All of a sudden, she can hear people screaming and yelling, calling her names, and she's thinking to herself, who am I going to call? Who's going to help me? Who out of all the voices is going to give her hope? Who? Then all of a sudden she saw a gray carpet, a blue stage on gray, black carpet. Whoa. Oh, I've been there before. Oh, no, no, no. I'm in church. She has nothing on. Oh, I hope she had long hair. At least she could hide her face. Some of y'all grew up with this story. You never looked at it that way, did you? And all of a sudden she heard a man, a familiar voice, a preacher. She was caught. The law says kill her. What do you say? And all of a sudden, all she can hear is dirt moving. Just. And I bet Jesus was close enough that she could hear this. Wow. I didn't even do this good last night, and I thought I did good. Wait a minute. Are some of y'all repeaters? Who was here last night? Raise your hand. Oh, I was that good? All right. I like that. It was Jesus. Then she heard the voice. Anyone amongst you without sin, throw the first stone. Then all she could hear was feet shuffling and the thump of rocks hitting the ground. She was waiting for the rock to hit her. And you know what I love about this? It says everybody left, and it was just her and Jesus. Because see, Jesus loves you so much, he'd even get rid of me to protect your nakedness. He'll move me out of the way to protect your shame. You're like, God can't love me. He doesn't know what I've done. He don't know where I've been. It's amazing that people think they've done something so bad that God can't love them. If you've done something so bad God can't love you, the devil would have used that against Jesus and kept him in the grave. But he didn't. Because, see, they know where the tomb was that Jesus was put in. They even found the clothes that they wrapped his body in. They found a tree that they crucified him on. They found everything but Jesus' body. The scientists of today, it's 2016. They've done things, invented things. Do you know that they could take a coin, put your initials on it, bury it in the sand somewhere on the beaches of Melbourne and not tell you where? It might take a little while, but there's machines that can find that exact coin. They'll find exactly where it is. But yet and still, they can't find Jesus' body. And you know what the great scientists who've done all these inventions say? It's a phenomenon. So guess what? I'm going to believe in something greater than me. I'm going to believe in something bigger than me. I need a phenomenon every now and then to come through for me. Somebody touch your neighbor and say, that man's talking to you. Touch your other neighbor and say, all right, all right, all right. This isn't the Jesus that everybody likes to he's not the guy that everybody wants. Hey, you know what I am? Dude, here's what I'm not. Do you see a black robe on me? Do I look like a judge? No. And I don't want to be. That's way too much responsibility. Do I look like a lawmaker? No. I love my job because since I'm not the judge and since I'm not on the jury, I can love everybody. No matter who they are, no matter how they dress, and no matter where they're from. Because you know what I always remember? That's somebody's child. He's somebody's son. She is someone's daughter. And if I don't try to save him, who will? Jesus stooped. You see, if you walked in church late and Jesus was up there and all that had already taken place, and you're like, man, what happened? Little usher in the back going, you need a seat? It's kind of full. Jesus speaking. Shouldn't he be speaking already? Oh, well, there's a little problem. What happened? He goes, they came in with this woman. She was caught in the act of adultery. They threw her up on the stage, and now Jesus is like, they said, what do we do? What do we do? Jesus wrote in the dirt, and he said, who have not to, and now everybody's just standing there. Wait, and all of us, I said, wait, where's Jesus? I can't see him. He goes, well, so you see, if you were late and you wanted to see Jesus and all that had taken place, you'd have to look underneath all the people angry with rocks. You'd have to look underneath the priest pointing his finger. You'd have to look underneath the naked woman to find Jesus. Why? Because Jesus stooped. Do you know why Jesus stooped? So he could pick up anything and everything, every hurt, every pain, every sorrow that you've ever gone through. Do you know what? It ain't the first time Jesus stooped. He stooped before, and I made sure I got it right. See, Jesus stooped when he was born in a manger, when there was no room in the inn. He couldn't be born in a palace, because if he was, he couldn't reach a brother like me. I'm far from a palace. You know, I'm from the hood. Everybody asks me, why do y'all have guns in your country? I said, come visit my neighborhood. You wish you had a gun too. I'm just saying, all right? You got to understand where people are from. You can't judge people how they live because you live here and not there. You got to go and be there. Walk in their shoes. I had a high school kid last week. A college student goes, I'm going to graduate in 2 years. Tell me one thing I need to do before I graduate. I said, go to a third world country. Spend 3 days in someone else's shoes. Make it less than here in Australia, and then decide what you want to do. You know why? Because when we walk in other people's shoes, it changes our dream. It changes our vision. It changes what we want to do. It changes how we treat people. Somebody touch your neighbor and say, all right, all right, all right. I ain't going to sleep this morning. I got to go. My time is running. I got to go. So check this out. Jesus stooped when he was born in a manger. Jesus stooped when there was no room in the inn. Jesus stooped when his first breath was in a barn with animals all around him. Jesus stooped. Jesus stooped when he washed the feet of his disciples. Jesus stooped when he said, suffer the children to come unto me. Jesus stooped when he picked Peter up out of the ocean when he was drowning. Jesus stooped. Jesus stooped when he healed the blind and made mud out of clay. Jesus stooped when he got on his knees in the garden and said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Jesus stooped when he picked up his cross, my cross that was meant for me. Jesus stooped when he laid down on the tree and died for my sin. Grace is a God that stoops. And if he stooped then, he can stoop today. Jesus stooped. Let me help you understand this. Here's what happened. I come to Australia all the time. I come to New Zealand. I go to Indonesia. I go to Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines. And last August I came. Oh, by the way, just to let you know, my name is Reggie Dabbs. 20% of what I do is this, preaching. 80% of what I do is in the secular world, okay? If you ever watch a news agency called CNN, anybody ever heard of CNN? CNN says I'm the #1 communicator to young people in the world. I speak to 1.5 million kids face-to-face in public schools every year, every calendar year. In the last 5 weeks, today's my last day in your country. I've been in this side of the world for 5 weeks. I did 2 weeks on a country tour. I went from Darwin all the way to the Gold Coast, and I did about 105,000 kids in public schools in 2 weeks. Then I went to New Zealand. I did the North Island for a week and the South Island, and we did another like 70, 80,000 kids then. And then I was here all this week and doing schools, and I did about 15, 20,000 kids here. So about 200,000 kids in the last 5 weeks have heard the gift of hope and love that they can make it no matter what they're going through. And it's cool because that's what I do all around the world. Now, here's the deal. The thing is this. Last week of August, I was flying to New Zealand from Florida. To get there, I get on a plane, I go to Texas. From Texas, I go to California. From California, I go to New Zealand. Now, the first flight, everything was fine. When I got to Houston, the plane broke. The plane broke, okay? I love the little girl in the front row went, oh my God, he crashed, No, look at me. Normal people can crash in a plane and survive. I'm way too big to crash and survive. If I'm on a plane that crashed, I'm dead, and the girl who's sitting beside me, she dead too, all right? So The plane was on the ground. It took them 5 hours to fix it. When I got to California, I had to run from the domestic terminal to the international terminal to catch my flight. It's normal to see people running through the airport. What's not normal is seeing somebody this big running through the airport. I wish I had, you ever had a camera called a GoPro? Anybody ever seen that? I wish I had that on my hat. I could have made a lot of money. All I was doing was like, look out! People were grabbing their children, women grabbing their purse. Some guy yelled, ISIS is coming. I didn't know what was going on. By the time I got to Air New Zealand, I was like at the counter, and the lady goes, you all right? I went, she goes, you going to New Zealand? I went, she said, the plane's gone. I went, what? I'm like, you left me? She goes, what's your name? I said, Reggie Dabbs. And she said, oh, by the way, stop. If you got that, that's good. If you didn't get it, you old, all right? So just let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Can't hold me back anymore. I'm sorry. Hey, you know what? 80% of you are enjoying this. 20% of you are like, I can make it biblical. The Bible says a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. Some of y'all need to take a drink. All right, so here it is. The lady goes, Reggie Dabbs, why didn't you say so? Listen, here's what it says. Tell Reggie the schools are pushed for one more day, that they're going to take care of you. Air New Zealand got a hotel for you. They got a ride to the hotel, back to the airport tomorrow. Everything's good. We're good to go. It's going to be all right. I went, cool. She goes, Reggie, look out that door. See that limousine? It's for you. I went, what? She goes, that black limousine right there. It's going to take you to the hotel, bring you back tomorrow. I said, that's for me? She went, yes. I said, all right, all right, all right. Okay, look, I'm not going to lie to you people. You know good and well I didn't go straight to I did not go to no hotel. Am I in a limousine in California? Y'all know good and well I went to McDonald's. Okay, I'm going to stop. Can I just say something? There's a little bitty girl on the front row over here who kept getting closer and closer to me, laughing and then running back, getting closer and closer, laughing and running back. If I can reach a child like that, some of you need to open your heart. I'm just saying. Because the Bible even talks about becoming like a child. See, you know you could be hurt so bad that you miss a blessing. Don't miss a blessing this morning. Don't miss it. Oh, and by the way, I'm 52 years old. Do you know what that means? I could care less about what y'all think. I could care less how you look at me. I could care less who you email after I'm done. I just don't care no more. I'm going to do what Jesus called me to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And you can get mad, angry, or do what you got to do, but you're angry because there's sin in your life. And you need to get right. Because, see, the Bible says the truth shall set you free, but it'll make you mad first. How many of y'all know that's true, man? He don't know what he talking about. He ain't from my country. Okay, I need Jesus. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, let's get this done. 10:02, I gotta go. Are y'all, can I keep going? You want me to stop? Balcony, y'all good? See, those are the Christians. They're going to heaven before us. When I finally got to my hotel room, I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, and I'm tired. In California, it was midnight, which means in Florida, it was 3 a.m. because there's a 3-hour time change. I went to bed, and I'm sleeping good. Next morning, I woke up. I had the voice in my head, you know that internal voice? I'm waking up, I'm like, man, I slept good. And the voice in my head went, uh-oh. I went, uh-oh, what? And the voice in my head said, uh-oh, and then it happened. Look at me. On the last week of August, 2015, in a hotel called the Embassy Suites, on the 10th floor of that hotel, I was in an earthquake. No. Everything. I've never been in an earthquake. Everything's shaking. My bed shaking, the curtain shaking, the TV shaking. I'm like, ah! All I could think of was, I'm on the 10th floor. I wonder who on the 9th floor. Whoever's under me on the 9th floor, they're going to die. All right? It's just the way it is. I jumped out of bed. I'm like, ah! By the time I jumped up, it was over. Earthquake stopped. And I'm sitting. I'm like, well, what was that? I turn on the TV. The weather guy goes, y'all feel that? It was an earthquake. Tomorrow it's going to be 23 and sunny. And all of a sudden, my mind went back to something, and I actually looked it up on my iPad. Everybody touch your neighbor and say, he ain't lying. Touch your other neighbor and say, he telling the truth. Let me give you the calendar, okay? Everybody say December 7th, 1988. On December 7th, 1988, a dad. Hi, you good? All right, Isabella, everything. We could do that. It's good. All right, hey, kid, like, y'all parents, give her whatever she wants. And she ain't in trouble. She's fine. Kids do that all the time. I travel on airplanes. I have like a flat brim hat, beat headphones. I look like the meanest brother in the world. Little kids come up and go, can I have a hug? So I just give them a hug, and their parents are like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. Because when you're that age, you still see the Jesus in everything. So when that happens, and if you like, why do kids like me? Maybe it's the Jesus in you that they see. Because there's no way that little girl should be running up talking to me like that in front of all y'all. But guess what? See it. Open your eyes and see it. God's about to do something in this service. And he's got to do it quick because y'all got to go home. It's 10:05. I got to get out of here, all right? I'm just saying. So check it out. Here's what happened. On December 7, 1988, a dad opened his door to his son's bedroom. When he opened the door, the son was sleeping, sound asleep. So the dad immediately did something a little strange. He fell on all fours and crawled across the bedroom floor. When he peeked over the edge of his son's bed, he started whispering the same phrase over and over again. But every time he said it, he got a little louder. He said this. Then it got weird. I'll always be there for you. I'm just joking. I should have done that. But I got to be honest, that's scary voice. I don't like scary movies either. Anybody ever seen a scary movie ever in your entire life? You know why I don't like scary movies? Black people die first. That's why I don't like scary movies. Oh, by the way, and if you Asian, you next, all right? I'm just saying. I don't know why they did that, but look, if we in a scary movie, all the Asian people get behind me, okay? It's gonna take a monster a long time to chew this up, and y'all can get away, okay? Everybody touch your neighbor and say, I got your back, yeah. So check this out. The boy, by the time the dad got to, I'll always be there for you, the little boy's laughing. The dad scoops him up, gets him shower dressed, feeds him breakfast, and they walk hand in hand to the school at the end of the street. The first time the dad told his son, I'll always be there for you, was the day that the dad buried his wife. And the little boy said goodbye to his mom. She was in a car accident. There was nothing they could do to save her. And at the funeral, the dad got on his knees and said, look at me, son. I'll always be here for you. I'll always be here for you. But that day, on December 7th, 1988, they didn't know what was going to happen. When they got to the school gate, the dad, one more time, got on his knees and said, I'll always be here for you. Gave his kid a hug, watched him run up the steps in the school. And the dad went to work. He never got to work. Because if you know history, on December 7th, 1988, in a small little country called Armenia that used to be a part of the Soviet Union, one of the greatest earthquakes ever took place, 6.8 on the Richter scale. Thousands died, thousands were injured. And this dad, as the ground was shaking, dropped his briefcase, turned, and started running toward the school. He turned the corner to where he could see the school. The school was a 3-story building with 1,000 students in it, but it wasn't strong enough it couldn't handle that earthquake. It imploded on itself and buried every kid. The only thing that was recognizable was the school gate. The dad ran to the gate and closed his eyes. He could hear women screaming, my child, my baby. And the dad goes, I got to do this. I got to do this. The dad thought back to the first day of school. Here's why. Because on the first day of school, he didn't just take his son to the gate. He took him to the classroom. So one, he knew it was 8 steps to get up in the school. Then he turned left, 29 steps to get down the hall. Turn right, 13 steps. Turn left, the door is there to the classroom. And the dad started digging. 5, 9, 12 hours, 15 hours he dug. At 15 hours, he couldn't feel his hands. The blood from the rocks and the glass cut his hands. He took his shirt off, wrapped him in his hands, kept digging. 24 hours, an entire day and night he dug. At 28 hours, he started hallucinating, hearing things. At 32 hours, he tried to stop, but he couldn't. At 39 hours, there was this big piece of concrete. He found a piece of iron, shoved it inside of that concrete. He got the leverage, and the big stone moved, and it was a hole. He laid on his stomach. 39 hours hours after starting to dig for his son, he yelled in the hole, "Son!" He thought he heard something, but he thought he was hallucinating. He did it again, "Son!" On the third time, "Son!" And every time, and on the third time, it got loud enough for him to know it was his son. And the boy was like, "Dad, Dad, I told him you come. I told him you come." And the dad reached his hand in the hole and said, "Take my hand, son. Take my hand." And he goes, "I can't." He goes, "Are you stuck?" He goes, "No." He goes, "What's wrong?" And the boy said, "Dad, you got to take my friends first." And he felt the hand and he pulled the kid out, and another, and another, and another, and another, and another. 23 times he reached in the hole. And on the 23rd time, his son grabbed his hand and he pulled him out. I was sitting on the edge of my bed in San Francisco. I was reading that story again, and I started crying because the one thought hit me. The thought was this: who would dig me up? Who would come for Reggie? Even at 52 years old. Even being the preacher. Oh, girl, you're awesome. I told you, she my friend, y'all. I'm just saying right now. It's good. I grew up in foster care. My mom gave me away. See, my real mom, she kept my brother and my two sisters. But she said I was a mistake. She slept with a man. Her husband left her. So she slept with a man for $20 to get food for my brother and sisters. She got pregnant. She gave birth to me, but she didn't want me. My mom gave me away to her favorite teacher at school. I was raised by a school teacher whose husband was the school janitor. They're the ones who took me to church every Sunday. They're the ones who led me to Jesus Christ. My foster care dad, the school janitor at 12 years old, because see, when you find out that your mom gave you away, kept your brother and sisters, it messes with you. Remember I said from 8 to 21 I wanted to die? Now you know why. You know what it was? I was dug in a hole. I was in a hole that I couldn't see the way out. But I had no idea that Jesus was just moving stones. He was moving rocks. He was just waiting for the day to reach into my shame, to reach into my pain, to reach into my sorrow and say, just take me, take my hand. And this morning in this first service on a Sunday morning, he's reaching into yours. It don't matter what the world has done. It don't matter if you've been caught in the act of adultery. Guess what? Jesus stoops for you. He's reaching into your shame. And by the way, you don't have to be a sinner to have hurt. There are people right now in this room. You're trying to figure out, how am I going to get through this? I thought Jesus was going to help me. And you're got this situation and you're trying to figure out how to face Monday again. But I'm here to tell you, don't give up now. Because guess what? You're so much closer to the answer today than you were yesterday. If you got $1 in your pocket, then wear a suit. Look like a brother that has $1 million. Make the devil mad. He took all your money. If you're sick, then just stand straight up and say, I might be sick, but I'm still going to keep moving. Why? Because greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. You got to keep on. Matter of fact, here's the way it is. I'm going to say it in the words of a song. I'm a saxophone player. I saved it for the end. Hope is one call away. Love is one call away. Your future is one call away. All you got to do is let Jesus help you. One call away.